So before we talk a little, just introduce us also to your guitarist with you here.
Today I've brought along Richard Durrant, who produced the album, and he's going to be doing some classical guitar along with me. So
good to see you, Richard. So what's the first song you're going to play?
The first song is called Summer.
Okay, it's Terry M here with us on Radio 2.
In the summer I lay around, holding my head in my hands, all the thoughts flowing out of me, like raindrops descending from leaves. Summer I cast myself into untouched childhood shelves, looking back through lakes of words, the things I've said and things I've heard. Someday it will all fade away, and I know sometime you will come to me again. But I know someday it will all fade away, and I know sometime you will come to me again. In the summer I watch the stars against the dark, up so far, and with the light from the street lights, as I surrender to the night. But I know someday it will all fade away, and I know sometime you will come to me again. But I know someday it will all fade away, and I know sometime
Terry Emmer's with us here in the studio. The song is called Summer, and it's the opening song from Terry's album White Butterflies. And it's a track, doesn't it, that kind of sets the mood for the album.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of inspired by a lot of observation of nature, obviously, and sort of summer coming in. And sort of came out of me spending quite a lot of time, growing up in a sort of small village when I was younger, really. And I was just trying to set that feel of sort of summery vibe to the album.
So as you both began to build up the sound for the album, what sort of pictures did you have in your head of what you really wanted?
Well, I mean, it's kind of came from a lot of demos that I did of the song when I was quite young. I used to sort of love just layering up loads and loads of guitars, sort of, filling up tracks on an 8-track recorder in my bedroom with all sorts of guitars and stuff. And then when I got together with Richard, we sort of expanded it more with mandolins. I think it was mandola as well.
What Terry and I discussed actually was keeping it very, very simple, because there's something very delicate about Terry's songs, beautifully delicate, and I think what's really strong about him is it's almost like a sort of like a bulletproof cobweb. He's so distinctive.
Yeah.
Even when you hear him singing in the bath or singing in the garden, it sounds like Terry M. It's such a voice.
Yes. And
my initial thoughts was maybe a glockenspiel and one other guitar. And during the course of the album, we didn't allow ourselves to do too much. I think a piano snuck in on a couple of tracks, but very, very sparse.
Yes.
And there was a glockenspiel, and Terry particularly wanted some strings. So I did some string arrangements, which I also tried to keep very, very natural sounding and fairly simple.
Because you say, and you're quite right, Richard, when you describe, this is a Terry M voice. But Terry, also for me, there are echoes of things that go right back into the folk boom of the 60s and some of the artists that came out of that. Obviously, Nick Drake and John Martin and people like this have echoes in. So have you sort of discovered their music as well? Has there been an influence there?
It's quite weird with a lot of that. I mean, I've obviously been into music that's sort of come out mainly when I've been growing up, and then it's sort of been through comparisons that I've been sort of trekking backwards into Nick Drake and John Martin and all of that stuff, really.
Terry seems to kind of have his own inspiration, though. I think he tends to sound like those people because he uses open tunings and he's got that beautiful natural vibrato, but he doesn't write unless he's feeling good, I don't think, and when he does, the songs seem to gush out. I think I've known him long enough to be able to say that.
It's sort of like the case of where I can't really write if I'm trying to write or sort of overthinking things, and I just sort of have to have a moment of sort of where you get it feeling, you sort of feel it through your whole body, and it's kind of almost like divine inspiration. You just sort of like, right, that's it, that's what I'm feeling, that's what I'm going to put down, and these are the words, and it sort of flows through. I mean,
you remind me of a moment that I spent with Mike Oldfield. I mean, I have mentioned this before, actually, but we're in the control room at his studio, and the sort of ceiling light thing that was way wide open, and it looked like it was going to rain. And I said, the window's open. And he said, I never close the window. That's where the ideas come in. Yeah, I can see.
Oh, fabulous, fabulous.